Hi everyone, Pepper Hernandez from drpepperhernandez.com coming to you with another informational video on cannabis, terpenes, cannabinoids, all the good stuff from the Cannabis Holistic Institute. If you'd like to be trained to be a cannabis therapy consultant, pop over to the website, drpepperhernandez.com, fill out an application, and even fill out some of the information for the scholarships. We give about a dozen a year away. So today we're going to be talking about understanding labeling. Labeling is extremely important. On each one of your bottles, each one of the back of your gummies or edibles, like everything should have labeling. And if these are specific for products that are post-flower, okay? So a full spectrum, we have broad spectrum, we have isolate, and we have distillate. Now a full spectrum is as it says. It's full spectrum. So it's going to have the phytocannabinoids, the cannabinoids, the plant's energy, its terpenes, all of the good vitamins and minerals and all of the other cannabinoids, just beside one thing like a CBD or a THC. It's going to have everything. So this is great, not just the minor, but the major cannabinoids are going to be here. So I would highly suggest finding plant-formed products that are full spectrum. Now, they need to be organic, they need to be local, they need to be sustainable. If you care about even deeper than that, meaning dry farming methods or eco-friendly, or there's small farms or whatever that is that you choose to go down, those are on top of being full spectrum. So full spectrum really is like the base, and then we go from there. So next is broad spectrum. Broad spectrum is one step down from full spectrum. Okay, so broad spectrum doesn't really have any THC. It's filtered out. So most of the time when you find something that's broad spectrum, it's going to have some of the same benefits and some of the nutrients are there, but really this has been filtered from full spectrum to broad spectrum. So you'll see a lot of CBD products that are broad spectrum. So watch the labeling there. Again, local, biodynamic, sustainable, all those kind of things are also really great. Organic, organic, organic. We really do want to see that the flower that's put into our medicine is grown ethically and organically, and at least they're using low pesticides. No pesticides would be even better, but really do some research. These kind of things, if you invest your time and your money and you do your research first and you want a good product, what you're going to find is that it's going to cost, but you know what, that one really amazing bottle of $70 tincture is, once you've done your research and you found that one, it's going to be like gold. You may spend $750 trying to find one. So do your research first with videos like this, or calling a cannabis therapy consultant, or making a consult with me. The next one besides broad spectrum is isolate. Now isolate is not my favorite, but it is okay for those states that are not legal yet, and CBD is the only thing that's legal there. So as in there, the top views here, the full spectrum and the broad spectrum, those two have all of the cannabinoids, or at least the full spectrum does, right? The broad spectrum, a little bit less, it's filtered. And isolate, now we're talking about nothing. We're talking about there's no cannabis there, there's no vitamins, there's no minerals. If you were to look at isolate, which you can see videos of that, or maybe I'll post some things, but it is very much like, it looks like baking soda. So everything's been taken out of it. It's sometimes a little bit of a yellow, a crystal-y color. It doesn't have any taste to it. CBD isolate is what has been put into a lot of products, a lot of bath products, a lot of topicals, and that seems to be fine. You're not going to get any psychoactive effect in it from here, oopsie, from here down, whereas full spectrum, you may, depending on the cultivar and the percentage of THC versus CBG, CBD, so on and so on. But as far as the isolate is concerned, It's typically less expensive, or it should be less expensive. So if you have a bottle and you look at the back of your label and it says full spectrum and it's a pretty good price, meaning it's up there, then it's worth it. If you have an isolate with the same price, someone is probably trying to take advantage of the less knowledgeable consumer. So an isolate should not be that expensive. A lot of businesses, what they'll do is they'll put an isolate into a carrier oil, and then sometimes they'll put back in the terpenes. Okay, that's fine, especially for those places that are not legal. But for those states that are legal or open, let's get with the program, okay? And very soon, the whole country will be legal, and so we're really going to be focused on full spectrum, full flower, focusing on terpenes, cannabinoids, combinations for body systems. That's where we're going, or at least that's where I see it going. I've been seeing it going that way intuitively and personally for myself for years now, and building that here in Humboldt County, we all are kind of on that same page. So the last thing I probably want to say about isolate, I'm just not that happy with the percentage of milligrams that people are putting into things. So for example, I get this question very, very often, and this question is, my particular tincture has 1,000 milligrams of CBD. This other tincture, and that tincture being isolate, this other tincture has 100 milligrams of full spectrum, but they're the same price. Logically, it seems like, 1,000 is more than 100, but you have to understand it's an isolate. It's a compound that has been isolated and removed from the cannabis. Everything else, the vitamins, minerals, nutrients have all been gone, right? And so it's just that. And so yes, they can buy it very, very cheap. I think it's maybe like, I don't want to quote how much it costs, but it's very inexpensive. And so they can put a large amount of that in an oil. Does your body understand it? Science, says that it's more biosustainable, or availability is better. And that's when we get into like the more nano emulsified kind of molecules, which we're not even talking about or discussing today. But I really think spending your money on a full spectrum, even though it's a lower milligram dosage, you're going to get much better results than a very high dosage isolate. And this is just from years of experience, honestly, and seeing patients and seeing clients and talking to people. A lot of people will take an isolate CBD or an isolate, even hemp is even lower, because it doesn't have all the cannabinoids, and hemp is really for fiber and textiles. I have another video on that. You should watch that if you have any questions. So if it's an isolate for hemp, unless you're just like in an illegal state and you have nothing, then that's great. If you are in a legal state, what are you doing? Isolate from cannabis, or maybe a cannabis derived CBD or something like that. Still a little better, but really we want the whole plant. That's the way nature intended it. So again, full spectrum is my go-to. The last is distillate. Now distillate is it's like an isolate. There are no plant parts, there are no terpenes. The pros and the cons of these two things here, and there's more extraction process in a distillate. People use that. Again, these are on the lower end of the spectrum as far as finances are concerned. You should not be paying as much for these as you are for these. And each person to their own. This is just a little bit of education from where I'm standing. So the good things about these is if you happen to be allergic to these particular plant matters, isolate or distillate may be good for you. Or if you happen to be allergic to the terpenes, cannabinoids, anything having to do in the cannabis family, then yes, these will work. Or if you're, again, like I've said multiple times in this video, if you're in a state that doesn't have full legalization. So I hope that this has been helpful. If you have any comments or questions, please comment down below. If you would like, I would appreciate you to like and subscribe. There are tons of people watching these videos, and it's really nice to have subscribers and likes so we can send all of this information out to everyone who deserves to have quality information for purchasing and understanding labeling, plus all of the other free information we give out from the Cannabis Holistic Institute here in Northern California. Okay, until next time, Pepper Hernandez from drpepperhernandez.com. Have a magical, beautiful, wonderful day, and we'll talk to you again soon.